I'm just going to show you another island, I guess.
What class is this?
This is the Warrior.
Okay.
This is your sort of like quintessential slamming guy, and I'll show you a few of the interactions between the different...
Do I dare say the other game, is it similar to a B-word character?
I mean, I guess. I guess so, but what's an area we haven't shown much? Maybe Journey's End? Here we go, let's have a look at Journey's End. I'm not sure what's sort of appeared on streams and things like that and what hasn't. So,
oh, no.
Anyway, so... right, so... I guess one of the things we really want to make sure of with the Warrior is that all of our melee skills kind of have a lot of mobility. So it's kind of like a basic attack. You've got like this kind of thing. Like in PoE 1, this would be like stand and do something. In PoE 2, it involves a lot of mobility. And the other thing, of course, is just like we were talking about on the Druid, is all the combo type stuff. So on the Warrior, one of the really nice combos to use is Armor Break. So what I can do here is when I hit monsters with Armor Break, it breaks their armor, but then that is used when you... sorry, I managed to run away from that guy. And so when you attack them when they've got their armor, obviously you're going to do a lot more damage. That's like really like the simplest level. And then the other thing that you can do is that some of the other skills that we have things that affect armor break. So they often remove armor break and do something else. So this guy's armor broken right now, and then if I use Leap Slam, okay, somehow I managed to not trigger that, there's a very high chance to do a heavy stun. Apparently, though, that didn't seem to work for that guy, so I don't know what happened there. But yeah, there's a very high chance to heavy stun. There we go. And that means that you can follow up with something that's much more slow. So an example of that kind of thing is we have a thing called Supercharged Slam, which lets you gather a bunch of rocks on your weapon and slam them. So if you just use it like for a short amount of time, you get like 2 slams. But the longer you hold it down, the more rocks gather up until eventually you can do like a ridiculous number of slams. So you want to be able to try and stun monsters, ideally, to be able to get that. So getting that, getting the Leap Slam, and then getting the Supercharged Slam is a good way to kill monsters. It probably wasn't worthwhile on these like random white monsters, but on a rare it matters a lot. The other thing you can do is Sunder. So if you Sunder on an armor broken enemy, so I'll just talk about, so Sunder when you normally use it, basically it's a very slow attack that does this like attacks on a line. And it's actually most useful when you have lots of monsters, because every time it hits a monster, it does a little ripple of damage. So if you use it on one monster, it's actually quite weak. But if you use it on a whole pack of monsters, then because the damage overlaps between each everything, I'll just gather a bunch here, it absolutely annihilates them. And so this is a useful interaction. But if you armor break one of the monsters, then Sunder does 500% damage to that monster, and also it does 500% damage to all the monsters that get like from the little wave from those monsters as well. So that means that armor break Sunder can be a really useful way to do that. Another one we have here is a Warcry skill, so I'm going to use Infernal Cry. So Infernal Cry puts this little thing on the monsters, and then when you kill them, it causes them to explode, dealing damage to nearby monsters. So it's another kind of good pack clearer. But the other thing that it does is it gives you an exerted attack, which means that your next slam skill is going to do a lot of extra fire damage. So a good thing to do is to armor break the monster, get the Leap Slam on that monster to stun them, although apparently once again that monster seems to be broken in this regard, which is very annoying, so I'm just going to move on. Get the Leap Slam on the monster, and then do the yell to get the exert, and then do the Supercharged Slam to get a lot of damage on them. So that kind of combo is what you'd be wanting to use if you're fighting a boss, and it's something that can really, can really help. So yeah, exactly. So you've got to, I guess a philosophy you would say in PoE 2 is that you really have to earn your single target damage. It's not just a question of like, here's a single target skill, just use it. You really have to like earn that single target by doing a combination of things. And if you do that, you'll be rewarded by getting a lot more damage in a situation like that. So that's sort of some of the stuff you can do on the Marauder. Sorry, not Marauder, the Warrior. We've got 2 classes for each of the combinations, and hopefully that's very interesting. One of the things that I like the most is on the Huntress is a skill called Whirling Slash. So the design of this is basically, this is just a little town area, so I can just practice here without any monsters attacking me. But when you use this, it creates this little like whirling storm around you, and the more you use it, the larger the storm gets. and when you exit the storm, it explodes. So it's kind of like a really nice single target. Sorry, not single target. It's a really nice area of effect thing that you can use to kill a whole bunch of monsters. So that's kind of like a non-obvious one as well. So like I can use dodge roll to get out of it, but there's actually more things you can use. For example, if I use this here, I've got a skill here which like makes your character run maybe you didn't quite see that, like do like a slash back, and which also traps monsters. So you want to kind of like whirling slash, and then get out of there with that one. And then once you're out of there, then you can start throwing your spears from range. Another one that's really useful for the Huntress is the spear field. So when you use this, probably not that useful against zombies because they move so slowly anyway. But you create a field of spears and they slow down monsters. So if you've got a lot of fast monsters around, then that's a really handy one. And then the other one that's kind of useful is puncture. So puncture can be useful for moving from one pack to the other. If I make this thing here, well, there's no other monsters nearby, so that's unfortunate. But effectively, it's a skill that lets you teleport towards monsters like this. And the further away you are when you use it, the more that you're going to bleed. The more that you're going to bleed them. So it can be quite handy to use, depending on the situation. So maybe if I'll sort of do this. So I'm going to create a whirling slash here. I'm going to go out of there, which traps them in, but I can go back in with the puncture to bleed, and then follow up with my more single target rapid assault skill, which has a nice ending damage thing there. So this guy's moving pretty fast, so I'll use Spear Field to slow him down a little bit, and then I can pre-prepare my whirling slash before he arrives. And then maybe like get them back like this, then go back into the puncture, this kind of thing. So there's a lot of mobility to combat that you can achieve if you kind of know what you're doing, which I honestly don't really that much compared to some people on the team.
Yeah.
So I haven't done too much practice on this class. But the skill ceiling for PoE2 can be quite a lot higher because of the fact that there's a lot more of the sort of action combat stuff that you can do. So we only put like a few skills in there, and this is also Act 2, so you don't have that many more skills compared to what you would have later on. But I guess that's it there, just sort of enough to show you, at least some of the basic stuff that you can do as a Huntress. We do have a lot of other like elemental spear attacks, like we've got a lot of different throws. But this class, what it's kind of really about is sort of going into and out of combat a lot. Mm-hmm. Like you charge in, you jump out, like this kind of thing. And then you've got stuff that you can do from range. You've got stuff you can do from close. It's really about exploring that that sort of in and out kind of thing that it's got going on. So that's kind of the main thing that the Huntress is about.